I, like usual, have to do some outtakes because this is a difficult subject or a difficult day for me to get my head around, because 9 years ago to this day, the 22nd of February 2011 was a Tuesday. Today it happens to be a Saturday. So 2011 at 12:51 p.m. Christchurch was rocked by a massive earthquake, which was quite violent according to my understanding in nature, and 185 people lost their lives on that fateful day in 2011 on that Tuesday. The magnitude of the earthquake, at the center of it, was recorded as 6.2, although there were other variants on that. What had occurred, from my understanding, was a massive rock underneath the ground of Christchurch fell and went up violently quickly, and that caused, among other things, quite a devastating, aggressive shake. So I've done this video about 4 or 5 times now, and they've all been good enough to go on, although they might be a wee bit scary in part or whatever. So at 12:51 p.m. that's when we experienced, centered 6.7 kilometers away from our central business district, our CBD, southeast of that part of our city, was where the center of the earthquake was most strongest. It was a horrible day, and but one leaps to, like I did, one leaps to aiding others that are in a bad way. And so my neighbour, my front neighbour, wanted to pick her boy up from school, because he was at school still, and school was over, of course. And so I was driving her towards his school over that way, which is towards south. And my neighbour, who I didn't particularly get on very well with, I wasn't a Christian then, my neighbour back then wanted to give me some money. Like, I saw $20 being given to me, and for petrol or whatever, and I say, no way. And I could joke about that. I could say, no way, $20 isn't enough, but no way. And like, a friend of mine is having a medical issue in the North Island, and I've just said to him, I'm on that plane. As soon as you want me there, I'm on that plane. A life-threatening issue. So anyway, I want to pay a tribute, and I want to give a moment's silence for what happened 9 years and 2 hours 15 ago. So I want to give a half a minute or a minute's sort of silence in tribute to those 185 Cantabrian lives that were lost. And sorry about whatever noise that is out there, so I'd like to give that tribute to them, please. Thank you. So thank you from the Cantabrians and others around New Zealand, and so thank you for that respect. I appreciate it, and I think it's very important, that sort of thing. So moving on, and that was the 5th, if I haven't mentioned it, to history, to the date in New Zealand history, that was and is recorded as the 5th deadliest disaster of New Zealand's history to date. Now, I bring you the following game. I was going to bring you chess news. If you are in Dunedin, real quickly, if you are in Dunedin tomorrow, which is Sunday the 23rd of February 2020, the Otago Student Union Chess Club FIDE are having a teams tournament against the Otago Chess Club players, and purportedly it's going to be 10 games playing there, and that is going to be played at the lawn of the Students' Union lawn. And if it's not fine, then it will be, which is possible with Dunedin weather, it will be played at and inside the Student Union Hall. Now we've got a motor mower going, so I'm glad we've had some peace. I might even have to take this one out too if it gets too long with me trying to talk over it. I don't like that. But they are celebrating in Dunedin, the Otago University are celebrating 60 years of being student union since the 23rd of February 1960, just a little bit before my time. So here we come with this game now, and by the way, there's a free lunch. There's never a free lunch, is there? But there is a free lunch. And I picked up a tip today from Magnus Carlsen. World chess champion Magnus Carlsen said, I better put my chess hat on. He said, looks like I'm a schoolboy now, doesn't it? He didn't say that. He said, and I quote, they say h4 is good in any position. Okay? They say, this is world chess champion Magnus Carlsen, they say h4 is good in any chess position. So here we go, moving on. And why did I hear that? Because I watched a video which is very, very good from Chess24. I'll take my hat off now. Take my hat off to you. I saw a very good chess banter blitz video from Chess24 on YouTube, where Magnus is playing the featured player today in 3-minute chess. So this game that I bring you is between these two players here. White is Slovenia's Grandmaster Savinik, and black is Azerbaijani Grandmaster Ralph Mamedov. I can get my mouth around that a bit better, and he is seeded as of 2018 at number 40th in the world, and his rating at February 2020 was 643. I thought it was 16 something and all that, but that was an outtake. So here we go, and the difference of age between these two is 5 years difference, I think. Yeah, 5 years difference, whereby black is 5 years younger at 31, and he will be turning 32 in April, and August is White's birthday for the end of August. So here they are. So White's up here and Black's here. Grandmaster Ralph, who actually incidentally tends to suit my style. Maybe because I'm born around his time. But Kasparov is also born in April as well. And he's a year younger than me. And the other players a whole lot younger than me. You know, about 45, 50 years younger. So here we go. And so it's a semi-Slav. Now don't get put off by that, because semi-Slav, and this is, I have to say that lawnmower is bothering me. This is round 10 of the European Rapid Chess Championships. I have earlier mentioned that it was the World Rapid Championships. So they said, who won that? This is round 10, board 2, the end of 2019 at Tallinn, and the time control is 15 minutes each and 10 seconds per move increments thereafter. So the arbiter is very, very busy at the start of the game. He or she is very, very busy adjusting everyone's clock to give them an extra 10 seconds. So we have the semi-Slav coming up, okay? Now these moves we can race through, although H6 has, for me, an earlier warning when I was a junior, or about this person's age, white or blacks. I was warned, never, ever, 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 ever play your pawns in front of your king's side, especially in queen pawn openings, by the stalwart of the Canterbury Chess Club, who has departed this earth about 4 years ago. So here we go with C6. Now we have the semi-Slav. Now please do not adjust your sets or your screens or that sort of thing. This particular semi-Slav setup is very positionally strong. It's not sort of like inherent with great weaknesses, and it is favoured by the likes of Dolmatov or Topalov and Kasparov and Drev and Shirov. So they favour this opening with great success, and Gary used this primarily in his prime, this opening as black against 1d4. So it's to be respected. And we could go into a Moran without going into it too much, but black can go into a Moran with dc4 and a6 and b5 and the like, or the threat of e5, b5. So it's been one of those days, and like, as I say, I wish to pay tribute to those people that have perished in that massive earthquake. Here we have the following move: c6 and e3 and g5 and bishop g3, and now a wee naughty move, knight h5 and queen c2, and then we have knight g3. So this knight and the other one soon hereafter have played sort of 2+ moves each in the opening without developing their other pieces, but one can get away with a little bit of breaking that sort of principle. Not that Nimzovich would like h6 and g5 for black, probably. It's a bit different from Botvinnik versus Bronstein or Tau or something like that. But here white plays hg3. So in close sort of situations, one can get away with not entirely developing with expediency. So here's g4, and here white plays sensibly knight d2, and knight f6. Here's that other knight move from black, and we have what do we have now? I think it was bishop e2, yes, and bishop d7, and now it's your move. So I will try to make this video 20 minutes long. I have heard that in this position white should play a certain move but played another. Now they both look attractive moves, but one's a little bit better behaved than the other. So what did white miss playing here? That my computer would probably pick either or. If you ask it 100 times, probably take 50% of it, this move or that move. So what would you like to play here for white? Given that it is a 15-minute and 10-second per move increments game. White has been suggested, okay, here we go, as best of castle here, long, okay, which actually looks like it might not be a good idea, because maybe black will be able to develop a very strong pawn storm on white's queen side, but it's actually quite good for white to castle long in this, particularly with the rook on h8 possibilities of launching this pawn down to somewhere on white's h file squares. But white played here e4, okay? So now we have a lifting of a pair of knights by d-e4, knight d, knight e, knight c. And now black Ralph becomes, I'm not saying I'm one of his best friends, but he's one of my best friends for the very next move, which he plays, of course, f5. And the knight goes back to c3 in this case. Can go back to other place, or cannot go to f6 or d6 because it gets lost. And here it can't go there because a queen takes, not pawn takes, because a rook takes. So it goes back to c3 or d2, but it goes back to c3. Now we have a move that is played by black that develops and aids the idea of castling, and to give you a clue, dissuades white from castling. So that move is, of course, a move that I actually incidentally saw was queen g5. I'm not sure if I considered that my only move for black in this position, which is a good exercise for anyone to do in chess. That was one, or at least one, of the moves that I consider for black as I was watching this yesterday on YouTube. So here we have rook d1, and then black now, as I've already said, castles long, okay? And then we have white doing a thematic Garry Kasparov move. So can you find a thematic Garry Kasparov move? It's a break or a make or break sort of move, and so that it's still going to go over 15 minutes, but it is a Saturday and it is special day for obvious reasons. So white, of course, played the thematic breakthrough move of Garry Kasparov, d5. And here, your black, what would you play now? Now this is a development move, and this piece or rook or whatever can move to 5 squares, or 6 if you want to be pedantic. So what was Grandmaster Ralph's next move for black. And have a look at the king. It's still in the centre. Can stay there maybe, but it gets a little bit dodgy. So black played bishop c5, and then white thinks, well, I better get out of here real quick, or plays castling. Okay. Now black played a very sensible, obvious looking move, h5, as I mentioned before, because we're now looking at taking this, and this pawn on g3 is pinned for capture because it cannot recapture on g3 because of the bishop on c5. So after h5, white played de6, bishop e6, and now did the obvious, swapped off a pair of rooks with check. Rook d8 check and rook d8. And then comes about rook d1, and does white just go, or black just go rook d1 now and sort of h4, or what? Black plays h4, which is threatening hg3, and it's a free pawn. So here comes white swapping off yet another with check pair of rooks. And now which one to take, the queen or the king? Which one? Because it's all about choice in chess. So the queen took back here in this speed game. Now white played bishop d3, so there are a few moves. We probably want to look after this pawn, or we might even push it. So what did black play? There are, if you want to look after this pawn, there's 1, 2, 3 moves. 1, 2, 3 moves, no other. Black played queen f6. Now we're obviously defending this. And now I come to this position and bishop d7, because I believe, from my way of looking at it, that white is wanting to maybe put their knight here, also defend the g-pawn, and at the same time attack this bishop, maybe to be able to get bishop f5 winning black's queen, which is quite hopeful according to me and my interpretation of this position. So knight e2, we have bishop d7, it drops back, and now we have a3. Now the move that I found, which I'm quite pleased of, before it was actually played, and no, I haven't seen this game before, so can you find black's move, which I think is quite nice to be able to play it, and that is waking the white squared bishop up is my for black is my clue. So black actually played f4. Wow, f4 and b4. Now I was actually thinking, can black play queen a1 here, check, but that's not what was played. What is played now is fg3. Now we're threatening queen g f2 and queen f1 and queen g1 check, mate. So Slovenia's grandmaster plays knight g3, and so black just plays hg3 back, and then don't worry, it's not long to go till the end of this game, believe it or not. And we have bc5, and what would be your move for white to meet now, for black to play here? What would you play here for black now? Given in mind that the queen is defending this bishop for white a little bit, so that's a wee clue. Plus the queenie wants to keep an eye on these sorts of squares around the king, because if it doesn't watch it, it will be checkmate. So well done if you found this move, as black played queen d4 here. And so what would you play for white now? Real quickly, just some wee exercises. What move would you play for white? Because white's actually in a bit of a predicament, really, because the queen doesn't want to move here because of maybe gf2, check, and then the queen is looking at the bishop as well as the pawn here, so it gets a little bit stringy for white to defend here, because they're kind of in what I call in English Zugzwang, but I have been led to know or believe that it's actually going to be a 30-minute video. I have actually found that it's not the way German people will actually say it. In fact, they don't even understand what I'm saying when I say that word, even if I spell it. So white now went, good on you if you found this move, bishop f1. Now the next move is very easy to find. It involves taking a pawn, and it's not gf2, and of course it's not queen c4. It's queen c5. Now white said about playing a4, and now here, to be honest, I thought of a5. Okay, so I'll just leave you soon with this wee little thing you can run home with. Is from Magnus Carlsen. At any given time, at any given position, I don't think this is completely correct, one can play h4, maybe for white, because it's always good. Well, an absolute I'm not sure of. So here, what did black play that crunched the numbers for white? And so good on you if you found this. And then I will leave you here is b5, although I thought a5. So there you have the end of this session, which is just under 28 minutes. Thank you very much, and please let us remember them who have perished in the earthquake back 9 years ago to this day.